here at the Barkyard Railroad. We'd like to wish you a Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year. Snow in Florida? What? Our railroad started with humble beginnings. This blue train is our $50 Craigslist special. You'll hear us talk about this a lot. This was the beginning, our humble beginning. From there we got each other a Christmas present. This school bus yellow Virginia and Truckee set is my Christmas present to Anne. From our humble beginnings we expanded to the Barkyard and what we have here. And you can see both of our original trains still running on the Barkyard. We originally intended to have a Christmas train and downtown decorated with Christmas lights, and here you see the Christmas light effect that I added to all the other lighting effects so far. But it just didn't happen, and for more reasons than one. And you're looking at one of them. I didn't have this effect working until Christmas Day. Well, at least not working as well as I wanted it to work until Christmas Day. Now, we could have decorated downtown, but there were a number of other issues. Probably the biggest reason that we didn't run trains was there was just so much damage to the infrastructure that it would have taken a lot more work and a lot more time to get everything running for Christmas. And the reason why we didn't really have a Christmas train this year is over here, and hopefully you can see all the damage and all the rot there. And Briggle was chasing a squirrel, and while he didn't catch it, the rails caught him, and not so easily. So if you thought that was the extent of it, let's take a walk down here. And now you can see kind of where I spliced in a new stringer there. And this stretch, well, that's already pretty much destroyed. Let me go on the other side here, show you the damage there. But wait, there's more. there's even more damage there. Damage there. Total destruction here. Oh, hi there, little fella. You want me to throw that frisbee for you? You'll have to drop it. Yeah? Yeah? Okay. There we go. Oh, big brother's in. Oops. Oh, that was a terrible throw, Papa. Up. One moment, please. Whoosh. There we go. Okay. Hang on, I gotta throw the stick. Ready? There you go. Alright, let's go over here. So to give you an idea, here's the view now with all the toys back in the yard. I'll try and get a better frame here. There we go. All the toys in the yard, and the big guy Briggle waiting for me to throw a stick. One moment, please. There it is. Oh my goodness. Oh, rocket having a fit. There we go. So what we have here, the more near term, is replacing these bricks, which the pups like to knock loose when they drag their paws across there going after a frisbee or whatnot. So I've got, speaking of frisbee, hey you, ready? Ready? I guess not. Whoosh. Oh, missed that air time. Ready? Oh, speaking of clipping the tracks, I think I'm getting more. Oh, there we go. All right, so anyway, what we're doing is we're gonna replace these bricks here Hi, big guy. With poured concrete arches. Hoping to learn from that experience and all the stringers that need replaced there. We'll be able to hopefully do the same thing there with the cast concrete arches. So this is something we needed to get to. There are a number of maintenance items that we need to check off the list, and this is another one of the big ones. Between the stringers and the turf, those are the two biggest ones. So we'll go through a series of pictures here, and I'm not going to comment on each and every one of them. The camera doesn't do justice to just how bad this looked before we started and just how nice it looks now that it's done. When I say, just look at that, and all the toys are back out, and had to pick up all the toys and stash them away, hide them in the garage. Well, there's no hiding about it. Briggle knows that they're there, and he'll stand at the door of the garage and look at you like, aren't you going to come get the toys out? So, yeah, they got stashed out of the way while we did this. So we started at 9:30, and we finished up around 1:30. The hardest part was this edge here along the patio where the planters used to be. When I took those out, I took too much dirt out. I removed probably 3 or 4 yard carts worth of dirt too much, and that was the beginning of Mount Crumpet. And then we brought a couple more loads of, we called it Earth Moving Day. We brought a couple of loads of dirt over from Nick's and built up Mount Crumpet. Well, by the time we were finished here, there's not much left of Mount Crumpet. It's back down to about the level it started at. So what we've got here is just kind of a aftermath of all the work we did on the turf on Monday. You can see, well, hopefully you can see the seams are nice and flush and don't have those deep ruts or divots or whatever you want to call. So I need to, like I designed the downtown buildings, the Grand Hotel and the corner drugstore, and like I cast those downtown storefront apartment buildings, I want to be able to have a pattern of sorts to give it more than just, oh, here's some poured concrete appearance. So we'll see how that goes. Like I say, it's going to take some design work. I'll bring you back to the drawing board, as they say. And my drawing board is electronic. So as you can see, this is a program I use called Sketchup. It's an older version, mainly because they went to entirely cloud-based, and another reason why I stuck with the older version. I don't like the thought of, however brief the interruption in the internet or the cloud is, not being able to do anything and having to sit and twiddle my thumbs waiting on the cloud to come back. Enough soapbox for today. Anyway, the reason I use this is it's more of an architectural and planning, like woodworking or outdoor site planning. So here we are, planning outdoor sites. Seems to excel at this. So you can see here in the center, pretty much the center is downtown, and going off towards the top and the right is Main Street and the steps down to the patio, outline of the garage. But here's the Grand Hotel, the storefront apartment buildings, the corner drugstore. This lets me plan out where things go. One feature that I use a lot here, even though it's kind of a pain to get there, if I'm zoomed in and looking at areas and planning around that, designing around that, you can see I leave notes, and the stringers are rotted. Well, if you saw in the previous video, they're outright destroyed here and at the other end. Once we scroll down here, yeah, stringers are out. Yeah, I might as well update that to destroyed. I can track distances, leave myself notes, and track it, well, center line distances and whatnot. I can locate posts. These are 1¼ inch PVC pipe that I use as my posts to support the stringers. And you roll over here, you can see where I've actually drawn in some of the stringers, and in this case just the newer sections because the older sections need replaced. Another feature or another nice thing that I can capture here is, zoom in on this a little bit. Oops. So you see how I have the little green squares here. Now let me zoom in a little bit more to where you can actually see the detail of the split jaw clamps, and they're colored green to denote that's one of the power connections for that block, if you will. So we've got the I'm not going to go into all the naming conventions, but this is far and this is far near as far as labeling when you get back to the patio and the block cables. But kind of a funny aside in any case. Another nice feature here is, let me pin the properties tray here. And you see how you have a list of all the models that are in your, well, all the different components in your model. So if I click on this, say, it pops up and tells you, oh, that's an Aristocraft curved section, 20-foot diameter. Or here, it's a 3-foot segment, or a 5-foot segment, or another 5-foot, or another 3-foot. So I can pretty much track, and then here's a big long piece of the Pico Flex Track, and I can keep tabs on where things are. I dropped in these split jaws where they exist, and where you have a rail join that doesn't have a split jaw, you can pretty much assume that it's still the Aristocraft. Although having said that, I see where I have a joint here that doesn't have it notated, and I'm pretty sure those are split jaw too. Now I have to bring up a picture, but that's the whole idea, is I don't have to go traipsing around out in the yard. I don't have to bring up a picture. I can click on it and say, okay, there's a 2-foot, there's a 3-foot, there's a 2-foot, there's a 2-foot, there's a 3-foot. And now with certainty, that's what's there. That's the idea of capturing this. So these are 10-foot diameter curves, and this is part of the reason why we're here. And let me zoom out. Is the default tray. This is the reason I'm sitting at the drawing board. This is the start of the arched culvert span that I was thinking about using to replace the bricks along the station platform. Those bricks, I originally thought, if I stacked them edgeways, they already had punch outs in the middle that would look kind of like an arched section if you covered the bottom, and that was the idea. But once we got into it, I realized they would be a bit short, and I would need to do a little bit more than just place a bunch of bricks, which is what it is now. We're to the point where we're going to replace those bricks with something that looks better and provides a better functionality than those loose bricks the dogs keep knocking over, and the openings collect leaves and acorns and you name it, it piles up in there, and then when they knock it off, it ends up in a pile on the patio. I'll take you to the web page. This is based on and loosely, I should say, based on the Pennsylvania Railroad standard maintenance away plan for an arched culvert. I'd like to express my gratitude and appreciation to the Pennsylvania Railroad rail fan page, and here I'll take you there. This is where they have a huge online library of everything Pennsylvania Railroad related. So let me take you there. So here's the Pennsylvania Railfan page I was talking about, Rob's Pennsy homepage, and it's been out there for as long as I can remember. In any case, here's basically a list of what he has, but here's the ones I use the most often. It's the maintenance away and the signal plans. So here's the standard plans page, called MOW maintenance away on the main page. And here's what I'm working on is this culvert arch, 30 feet span, and we'll go there. That look familiar? That's kind of the gist of what we're doing here at the drawing board at this point. So yeah, you can see that I've swung the 20-foot radius here for the vaulted arch, and I'm working on the one end of the arch down to the foundation. This is going to take some doing. At some point I'd like to put some texture on these cut stones and whatnot, but for now I'm just trying to capture the major elements enough that I can look and see what it's going to take to 3D print forms or whatnot. See what it's going to take to cast this and go from there. So the reason we're here is to get a better idea of how well these arches are going to fit beneath these 10-foot diameter curves. So let me go over. Okay. While I'm thinking about it, I had forgotten I was working on a crossover here trying to fit it, and that's the reason why I didn't have a clamp there, because this is just put there as a test fit. So there we have it. But again, the entire reason for even fooling around with this and trying to draw it out is to figure out how many arch sections it'll take, because obviously I can't make just a curved one. I shouldn't say in real life, but at 1-to-1 scale they would not have curved. They would have made a number of straight segments that meet at an angle. If it's too tight an angle, which, the 10-foot diameter curve is definitely non-prototypical, and these are rather tight curves even for the short equipment we're running. So the whole gist of this video is up and coming attractions, if you will, what we're working on, what we've accomplished here this week between Christmas and New Year, that most folks kick back and put their feet up. So we're working on a lot of the shortcomings. On our website we say we build puppy-proof models, but our Christmas present this year appeared to be the revelation that things ain't so puppy-proof. I'm happy that I can laugh about it, but I'm not so happy that we didn't really meet a milestone we were shooting for. The Christmas train's been a big driver in a lot of what I do with my electronics. The Christmas lights and all the effects are a big driving factor. The Christmas train is a big driving factor for the Christmas lights and all the other lighting effects. I come at it with the approach that I always have something else in mind. while I'm at it or while I'm in there, and I have to try and avoid that. Right now my highest priority is this video. I really wanted to have something out there featuring the Christmas train and all the decorations and have downtown decorated and just a whole Christmassy theme. But instead we're doing a retrospective and covering where we're going from here. I'll leave you with some of the humble beginnings and other train runnings, if you will, some of the other enjoyment that we get from the railroad. This is April of 2019, shortly after we installed the pond. That whistle you hear in the background is the Orange Blossom Cannonball. It used to run between Mount Dora and Tavares. And we could walk downtown and catch a train and go to our favorite pub and enjoy lunch and ride on back and not have to worry about anything but staggering home. Fast forward to the middle of September of 2019, and here's Klaus and Briggle totally enjoying themselves and the pond, their little swimming hole, if you will. They enjoy the whole Barkyard, but this is before we got Rocket. We didn't get Rocket until Christmas of 2019. The old lower loop around downtown and decided we were going to push for getting a downtown installed. Fast forward to March of 2020 and we had moved on to the station. My idea here was to copper clad everything to make it look like an old time. You can see that I started with the lighting back then. This is when I did my first iteration of the passenger car lighting, and it wasn't meant to look like a rave. It was meant to be more of just platform lighting for evenings and sitting on the patio like now. Fast forward to April of 2020 and you can see the copper cladding. This is actually copper tape, and the completed station. This is what happens when the dogs plow through underneath the bridge. All the attention that we paid to the station took away from other things that needed done. This is shortly after we took the pond out because we just couldn't keep the dogs out of the pond. It's one of those, had we known then. These are just short trains that we ran, and I don't know if you noticed in the previous stretch where Klaus and Briggle were fighting over the pond, you could see the stringers for the new lower loop that were just laying there, nothing installed, and here it is, and the new lower loop is installed and the trains are running on it. So this is basically a year later. We had a 6-month diversion of resources to remodel the back porch, one of the last remaining things that we hadn't touched yet since we bought the house. And that kind of put a damper on things. But here we are, back in full swing and running trains. Where the train is crossing now, you can see it's crossing over a concrete block. That's mainly because the puppies have plowed into the other trestle. Like on this side, you can see behind Briggle's head, and now he's smiling for you. Hi there, Cheesy. But you can see where the train is coming back now. The idea is to change that to where it doesn't just come up at the same level, two parallel tracks to go around the loop, but rather have one end pass over the other end at different levels. So I'm going to wrap up this video. It's about 15 minutes till midnight on New Year's Eve, so wish everyone a Happy New Year.